Hello, everyone, and welcome to Buffalo Bills Breakdown. This is sponsored by, I knew I'd screw that up, sponsored by Rochester Flooring, Kitchen, and Bath. I am Leo.
Boy, you're having a bad day,
I'm Leo Roth. He's Sal Mayorana. He's lost a lot of weight lately. Yeah, my head wasn't in this at the start. Sorry, folks. I'm Sal Mayorana. He's Leo Roth.
Oh, my Lord.
And see, it's this Bills-Dolphins matchup, Leo. I have no energy today.
Boy,
I don't care about this
you're
game.
Excited about the Bills facing one of the worst teams
God
in history?
almighty, I just don't have my head in the game today. Anyways, yeah, we are. I'll do it again. We're sponsored by Rochester Flooring, Kitchen, and Bath. He's Leo, I'm Sal. Look, the only juice that we have for this game, Leo, was when Brian Flores, the Dolphins coach, announced yesterday that Ryan Fitzpatrick was going to start for the Dolphins. Otherwise, I mean, I don't even know what we'd be talking about today with this Miami team. They're so bad.
Well, I would have liked to seen Josh Rosen against Josh Allen. Just two of the top picks from the 2018 draft. That's what I would have liked to seen.
I guess
I've seen that. You know what? I've seen the
Fitz
Fitzmagic show.
Yeah, true.
You know, and I wrote. I just say, that show has been played more than Gone with the Wind, and it's the same ending, right? Atlanta burning. I don't want to see it again. I love Fitz, but I just don't want to see it.
Yeah, we know what Fitz is going to bring. You're right, Josh Rosen, because they're in the same draft class. You're right. That would have been semi-interesting, but it's not even fair.
You're right. I get what you're saying.
It's really not even fair to Josh Rosen to make any comparison to any of the quarterbacks that he was drafted with, because this kid has been in, I can't imagine a worse situation to start a career for a high draft pick like him. Mm-hmm. Being picked by Arizona last year, the worst team in the league, terrible coaching there, awful offense, and then a new coach comes in, they get rid of him. After 1 year, he goes to Miami. There can't be a worse situation than going to the Dolphins. So I feel bad for the kid. I would imagine next year he's going to move on again, and because they're probably going to draft a quarterback.
Really, they gave up the Dolphins gave up second and fifth round picks for him, and they continue their fire sale and throw him into the lineup, getting rid of some of their top offensive linemen and all that, and no receiver. The line, I like that. You look at the roster, and Sal, if you can name a couple guys that you've heard
incredible.
It's amazing. And they've, it's embarrassing. I really feel,
he's had a rough go.
You got to feel bad for the Dolphins, their fans. I mean, it's a bad.
Well,
I know Bills fans aren't going to do that.
I don't think anybody feels bad for the Dolphin fans,
but listen, I mean, 2016, Sal, they were a playoff team, 10-6. They had some really good personnel on that team, and then it's just okay. They went a 6-win year, a 7-win year, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's just all done.
It is amazing how quick it can happen.
How can, boy, hope, as the Bills, 2016 was when the Bills were getting rid of Rex Ryan and Doug Whaley and moving on with a whole new start. And you see where the two teams are in just this blink of an eye. Yeah. One's 4-1 and becoming a darling of the league and all this. And the other one, seriously, the Dolphins, outscored by 138 points. Mm-hmm. They rank last or near last in 10 statistical categories and have a chance to be maybe one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in NFL history.
They will clearly have a shot at 0-16. I mean, I think they're going to get one somewhere along the way, but they will be in the running become the third 0-16 team in history, Lions and Browns being the first two. The point on Fitzpatrick, it was interesting to me, Leo, because they're not going to publicly come out and say that they're tanking. But everyone knows that the Dolphins clearly don't want to win many games this year. They want to lock up the number 1 overall pick, and I think they're all hoping that the kid from Alabama, Tua Tagovailoa, or however you pronounce, I can't pronounce the kid's name. If he ever came to Buffalo, I'd be in big trouble. Tua, the tank for Tua, is what they're calling it. Yeah. But to make this move, Leo, to go to Ryan Fitzpatrick, seems to fly in the face of what everyone thought they were going to do. I mean, if the Dolphins want to lose games, their best chance to do that really is with Josh Rosen. Ryan Fitzpatrick can play at a semi-competent level. We saw it last week. He comes in the game. They almost won the game. If they make a better call on that 2-point conversion, they probably score and win that game. So I'm getting mixed signals from Brian Flores. What are you doing?
Right. Well, you got to. Well, I guess give him credit. He did go. He went for the 2-point conversion. He wasn't trying to lose that game. Obviously, he was trying to win it. Good for him.
I'm wondering what the uppers, the people
and then of course,
and
then today, you're like yesterday when he says he's going to start Fitz over over Rosen. We talked to Flores on a conference call yesterday. He was asked a question, obviously, because he had come out and said Rosen was going to play.
Right.
And then he just says, I looked at the opponent and I see I see their strengths and weaknesses, and I see our strengths and weaknesses, and I just felt that it was time to. I made the decision to start Fitz. He didn't commit to him for the rest of the year or whatnot, and it's going to be back and forth probably.
Right.
Maybe he just felt that. Maybe he felt that going up to Buffalo against the number 3 defense, that crowd, and all the things that could go wrong and ruin this kid even more.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just pulling in the reins a little bit.
And I guess that does. There's some logic to that, I guess. To me, you mentioned they sent 2nd and 5th round picks to get this kid. To me, this would be an opportunity to see what the kid's made of. I mean, I think they want to get a quarterback next year. I think Tua, everyone seems to think that this kid is going to be the next great quarterback. Of course, we've heard that about a lot of quarterbacks in college, and it didn't come true. But geez, I mean, this guy was picked number 10 overall. He was a hot prospect in the 2018 draft. If I'm the Dolphins, I mean, unless they've already made the determination, Leo, that this kid really can't play, he was grossly overrated in the draft. If they've made the determination, fine. But otherwise, I mean, here's a guy on his rookie contract who maybe could be your quarterback in the future, but they're going to Fitz. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me.
We flashed back to that draft, and we were saying, did the Bills pick the right Josh? That was a question that day.
Yep.
It looks like they did.
I'll
obviously.
raise my hand. I thought Rosen was the pick over Allen.
Rosen's bio was that he was the most NFL ready.
Right.
And so, and listen, like you brought up, so the kid's just been thrown into some very bad situations. And you figure what Josh Allen's had to deal with coming into some stability here. The coaching staff wasn't going to be fired. He was going to be eased in.
Right.
Probably played before
they
wanted to.
He ended up being eased in after 2 quarters of the first game. Wasn't quite eased in.
The plan was to ease him in. It didn't work out that way because of the Bills had a horrendous plan last year with
Nathan Peterman.
With good old Nate Peterman. But
reunited with Zay Jones, by the way, out in Oakland.
And I'm sure you'll get to that. So, but anyway, this, Sal, and I'm going to write for the weekend is that listen, if the Bills don't take care, Sean McDermott yesterday was talking about we got to grow every week. Well, you know what a growth barometer is this week? Cover this 16.5-point spread, win by 20, win going away, leave no doubt, grow and show everybody that you deserve to be a 4-1 team, because right now the Bills have a lot of reason to be humble. For starters, if the New York Jets and the Tennessee Titans have a field goal kicker, they got 2 losses.
That's right.
More.
I mean,
and they're,
the Jets game, maybe he missed an extra point. The Tennessee game, the guy left 12 points.
And a field goal.
Did he miss a field goal?
Yeah.
All right. Well, the guy in Tennessee left 12 points on the field.
Yes.
That was ridiculous. The Bills really, by all rights, should have lost that game. You're right. This Buffalo team, Leo, has nothing to say about going into a game overconfident. They're not there yet. Most teams aren't there. There's an elite few that could probably go into a game against the Dolphins and cakewalk it and sleepwalk it through. The Bills aren't there yet. This is a team that is so close to going the other way at points in games. We've already seen it. They almost gave away the Bengals game after having pretty good control. They almost gave away the Tennessee game when he threw the interception in the third quarter. The Bills cannot be overlooking Miami and the 16.5-point spread. I don't think they are. I think Sean McDermott. I mean, we talked to guys in the locker room yesterday. I think they understand.
They do.
They got to take care of business every week.
They all have the company line, even without being told that. Hey, most of those guys have been. They know, even if you haven't been around a long time, you've played football all your life. They've had these situations all their lives, going back to high school, going back to Pop Warner probably. Hey, we're a better team than these other guys. We better not take them lightly and do what we do and take care of business. And I think they will. Is there any chance of Miami winning? No.
I don't see it. You're right. I don't. I mean, any given Sunday, we all know.
I don't even buy that. Not with this Miami team.
This is
they almost beat another winless Washington Redskins team, and that gets back to this Bills schedule. It's unreal how weak it is.
It is. It's setting up nice for the Bills. You're right. You look at the roster for the Dolphins. I can recognize 4 or 5 guys. McDermott. So McDermott had all the lines yesterday about.
Oh, he always
does.
It's the NFL. Throw the records out.
He even called them a good
We
football
got to bring
team.
their A game. He dropped every cliche in the book, and good for him. He was doing his job up there. It's, but that's why I miss Rex Ryan. He would have come out and said that.
Yeah, he would have said these guys stink.
Yeah,
We're
these
gonna
guys
blow 'em out.
stink. We're gonna win.
Yeah,
So
well,
whatever.
I almost
He
did-
would have gave him bulletin board fodder.
I almost did laugh when he said they're a good football team because they're not.
Yeah, come
Nobody
on.
believes they're a good football
He
team.
was doing okay until that point.
until that one. At least he didn't say they were a really good football
when he
team.
says
Then I would have laughed.
when he says you turn on the tape and
Yeah.
you can see how good they are. I mean, he was channeling Bill Belichick for that 13 minutes he was up there. Anyway,
All right. So, anyways, there's really not a matchup we can talk about where the Bills wouldn't have an advantage. I think one of the keys for the Bills will be on offense. Leo, use this game as a springboard. This offense is far from complete. They're 25th in the league, I think, in points. I think they're averaging about 18 a game. I'm not quite sure where they are in yards, but they're 10th in yards.
Yeah.
But I generally ignore yards. 25th in points is the one you got to pay attention to. And they need this game, Leo, to go in there, work on your offense, start toning things up a little bit. Hopefully get Devin Singletary and Tyler Kroft, believe it or not, if he can survive practice this week. It looks like he's going to play. So you're getting some pieces back and start getting ready for the second half of the season.
Yeah.
This is almost like a preseason game. Not that they're going to play it that way, but you can use this as an opportunity to get some things figured out. Hell, the very next week, the Eagles are coming in. They better be playing well.
Yeah.
When I don't care what their record is, they could fall to 3-4 if they lose in Dallas Sunday night. That's a really good team. So I guess
It is
my
a good
point
team.
here is use this Miami game wisely.
Yeah.
Get some things figured out. Get your offense on a roll because this offense has not been on a roll really at any point. I guess there were a couple quarters of the Giants game when they looked really good, scored 28. Otherwise, it has not been a good offense.
no, the areas to address Sal, obviously scoring points. They're averaging 18 a game. It's
Not good enough.
It's not awesome. Third down conversions. I think they're ranked 24th in that category. Not very good at that. Even though they've had some sustainable drives,
Yeah.
they've also punted an awful lot.
They have.
So that's an area. Turnovers. I mean, Josh Allen alone has 7 picks and 2 lost fumbles. He's got to clean up his game. He does some marvelous things, and then does the head scratching pick, trying to make a play when he shouldn't have. So he's got work to do. So that's not a team that should walk around. There's plenty to keep them humble, put it that way, and to keep on working and getting better. And like you said, the Eagles. That's a good team. They're a good team, even though they're 500 right now. They're a good team, and that's of this 3-game stretch, 3-game homestand. That's the one
That's exactly
that could
the
give
one.
them the most trouble.
Now, of course, if McDermott was sitting here, he'd be slapping both of us for talking about the game next week when we're not concentrating on the Miami game. All right, so back to the game, Leo. As far as the defense goes, this Miami offense, Devontae Parker is a good player. He's a wide receiver for them. And the running back, Kenyon Drake, is a decent player. So they do have a couple of guys that could at least give the Bills a challenge. But quite frankly, Leo, I don't see Miami scoring more than a field goal. I just don't see that offense going against this Buffalo defense in Buffalo and doing much of anything. And Fitz will bring some juice. I mean, I don't think Josh Rosen would get anything done. Fitz will bring some juice to this thing because he's a veteran guy.
Yeah.
And he will try to make plays, and something could happen there. But man, I think that's a big matchup.
Fitz is good for a TD drive, some crazy crazy play that he makes, and good for him.
Yeah.
But he's good for one of them. I hope the Bills can score more than one touchdown themselves.
This is a defense that's given up 36 points a game, Miami. I mean, if they can't score against this team, I mean, that would cause a red flag to go up for me.
If they don't go up and down the field consistently, I'm going to tell you seriously, the Bill. This is a game where the Bills. If the Bills were to win, kicking a field goal at the end,
not good.
It's tantamount to a loss.
Yeah.
That's how bad this Miami team is, and I don't want to hear about, on any given Sunday. That was another good cliche yesterday.
Well, I
everyone
used
was
it just a
talking
little while
about.
ago too.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know. Yes, I agree. The NFL is not very good. It's not top to bottom. It is not a very good league this year. The quality's gone down.
Especially the AFC.
The officiating is horrible. The quarterbacking is bad. It's just, and now they want to add 2 more games to the schedule. The NFL is teetering on its product. Losing a lot of credibility like they do every week. I know you want to talk about officiating a
Yeah,
little bit.
we'll
and
get
it's,
to officiating.
So I think, yeah, can a lot of teams be? Yeah. So what you want to do, what you want to hope for the Bills is that they moved into okay, maybe in that, maybe they're in that in that top 10 of teams, maybe
Well,
that
I
are
think
worth
you
watching.
want. I think you want to get into the top third of the league. That's where the playoffs
Yeah.
are. The top 12 teams in the league go to the well, generally. I mean, 6 in each conference, but yeah, you want to be in that upper third of the league. And I think right now the Bills, well, they are by their record, of course, but I think they've got the type of roster, Leo, that I think is competitive enough to be in that conversation. We've seen some good things, and with this defense, we've talked about it week after week. They're going to be in every game. There's not going to be a game. It'll be shocking if there's a game this year where this defense gets plowed over and the Bills get blown out. I think a lot of the games are going to be close. I think the Bills are going to win more than they lose, and it's going to be because of the defense. So, yeah, I think we should be definitely talking about a top 10 type of team. I don't buy into these power rankings you see every week. I think it's a bunch of bunk because the people who do them generally don't even know, much about any of these teams. They're looking at records and all that. But I think the Bills have reached that point. Now it's time to prove it. Take care of business this week. If you can beat the Eagles, great. And then the Redskins, they could go to the break at the halfway point, 6-2, and they're set up. They're set up at that point to make a run to get to the playoffs. So I think a lot is riding this week on, like we said, perform the way you're supposed to perform against a team that you clearly are better than. And I don't want to see a 21-17 type of game here. You should beat this team to a pulp. Let's hope the Bills can do it.
The Bills haven't had a clean game start to finish. They need to do it this Sunday. Tune up for the Eagles.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. Let's. I wanted to mention officiating because I'm doing a story about this for. It'll probably be up later today or maybe Friday morning. Look, the Monday night game. I'm sure a lot of you saw the game. Lions and Packers. Fourth quarter, the Packers get the benefit of two incredible, terrible calls by the officials. Both hands to the face by Trey Flowers, which were not hands to the face. The replay showed very clearly he was here, not here. There was no way to turn these calls over, Leo, in the way they do things right now. So I talked to some players, Bills players yesterday, and also talked to Jim DeBell, the Rochester guy who was an NFL official for 7 years, about the eye in the sky. There's this lot of movement about putting an eighth official, an actual crew member, have an 8-man crew now for NFL games. Right now they have 7. Put the 8th guy in the press box, and whenever a flag is thrown, it's his job to look at the replays and see if it was a legit call. Look at it, and within the 40-second play clock, not stopping the game to do an instant replay review, right then and there. In fact, Jim even said put a 20-second limit on it. 20 seconds. If you don't see that they missed this call, the call stands. In the case of the Lions game, it would have taken 5 seconds on that replay to know that the bad call was a bad call, pick up the flag, and move on with the game. A lot of players were a little bit iffy on that. They worry about opening a can of worms, and I'm totally on the other side, Leo, and so is Jim, and a former NFL official who said this is what they should do to fix some of the officiating problem. You got a take on this?
Well, I don't like replay to begin with. Never did when it first came in.
I agree.
And it just keeps getting more and more and more. But it's here to stay. It's not going away. So you know what? If it's here, and I really like your suggestion about how this would not add any more time to the game.
Right.
We're not going to be watching 5-hour football games. You can do it like we were watching Monday night. I watched it. It was like boom, like this. I'm going, that's not hands to the face.
Right.
And then it happened twice at critical times. Cost the Lions dearly. The officials they took control of that game and lost that game.
And what's absurd, Leo, is that everyone in the country who's watching
Yes.
knows this. Why aren't the NFL officials, the guys who are in control of the game, why don't they have the same amount of information that we do at our disposal?
So all it takes is, hey, pick the flag up. Beam it down. The guy does it, pick it up.
Right.
Just like they review scoring plays, and now pass interference. A coach has the option now to challenge those calls,
which is also becoming a farce.
And that's become a farce because they're
not turning them over.
They're not turning them over. Obviously, I mean, you don't want to. I don't think it would get out of hand. It's for the really egregiously wrong call that costs a team a victory.
I mean, if a guy's false starts, okay, you're not going to worry too much about that, right? I mean, it's false start's a false start. But in these situations, these are elite athletes moving at high speed. Sometimes you can't blame the officials for missing these calls.
I just thought on those Trey Flower calls, the first angles on that were, they came from this side. He's got his hand underneath the tackle's shoulder pad. Obviously, it's not up in here.
Right.
And obviously the guy's throwing the flag. His angle looks like he's got his hand up in his helmet. Now the other angles are clearly, what's he talking about? This is all wrong. Why? I mean, it's amazing. Like some other official didn't see this.
But the point is, though, they're looking for other things.
Well, they have a job to do too.
That's the problem. They have their own job to do.
Right. The line judge sees right. But often they do pick flags up.
They do. Well, a lot of times they will get together because certain groups of officials, depending on where the play is, they can see it. But in this case, I'm not quite sure who else would have been able to see what actually happened there. But anyways, the point is that this seems like a very easy fix. And from what I did a little research, and I guess this idea did gather some steam at the NFL owners meetings back in March when they went through this whole thing with pass interference and Sean Payton, dying on the sword for this because his team got screwed so bad last year.
Yes.
So this did come up, but I guess the NFL, the owners, as usual, got to play things slowly and let's implement the replay challenge system first and then go on from there. I don't know. I mean, to me, at the end of the year, because they won't change it middle of the season. I mean, I guess next year it should be automatic.
There is the concern about the other big call that's made all the time and is really damaging is holding. Obviously, that's and that can be very, very subjective. I mean, it's what is a hold? Some referees have different opinions on what it is.
In the holding situation, doing the eye in the sky would be difficult because literally you could call holding on every play. I think what the eye in the sky would be used for would be you would avoid the fiasco from the Saints game last year. The eye in the sky would say, look, that was a penalty, boys. You got to throw a flag. Or in the case of Monday night, that was not a penalty. Pick the flag up.
Right.
I don't think they're going to go up there and change every holding call.
Use your discretion then.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
It's got to be for egregious plays.
It can be applied to every penalty, but it's got to be really obviously
absolutely obvious.
A wrong judgment called on the field. A flag is wrong. It's blatant. Everyone can see it. There's great angles, footage. Takes 20 seconds. Boom, pick it up, guys.
Exactly.
And now we got a clean game. Now we're playing. The goal is to be fair. That would be the most fair. Now,
I mean, the funny thing is that we think that NFL officiating is at an all-time low. Quite frankly, it probably isn't. It's just because modern technology has made every call so blatantly clear with all these angles and cameras. I'm sure the NFL officials from 30 years ago were missing the same calls these guys are today, but there was no replay. There was very minimal use of replay. Today, every call, you can break it down to the millisecond, Leo.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hurting the NFL officials, and they have a lot of pressure on them. I understand it.
And they are. I mean, and the game is, bigger, faster, stronger. There's an element of that, and some of these refs get up there in age too. They don't.
Right.
There is often a call to make this a full-time job. I don't know if that's
not going to solve anything.
I don't know if that needs to be.
What are they going to do for the other 40 or 30 weeks of the year?
And I'm going to tell you, the officials do an awful lot of work. They really do. I mean, it might be a part-time job. For a lot of these guys, maybe not. It might be the job that they do. They're paid well to do this job.
Jim DeBell said he thought a good way to do this would be for the younger officials that are coming up. There are young guys that come up. This is a great training tool for them to be the eye in the sky.
Sure.
And you can train an official. He said to me that one of the biggest problems the NFL officials have today is they are lacking in training. The training needs to be tweaked.
But look at them.
Game.
So they spent all the training camp at these practices, just like the players.
Yeah.
I mean, they're there all the time. We know that. We see them all the time. That's part of their training.
They're watching film all week long like players are.
I'm just saying they call it a part-time job, but I would venture to say they probably put in a full-time hours on this
I think there's a lot of work behind the scenes. And like I said, I don't think these guys all of a sudden have gotten terrible. It's just because modern technology has put such a spotlight on every call they make, and there's no doubt. Football is the hardest game in the world to officiate. There's 22 guys out there doing
is, yeah.
whatever many criminal acts that are going on out there. It's hard to maintain some reasonable control of the game.
Confined space, on the lines of scrimmage, and then of course in the open space it's very fast, and things are happening there too that just. Pass interference, I'm going to tell you,
That's a can of worms.
Unless it's so blatant, I'm going to tell you, I've seen some great coverages by guys, and they get flagged, and that's frustrating too. You just say, boy, that guy, what's that guy supposed to do?
I know, defenders.
Stuff like that.
Don't let your kids grow up to be cornerbacks because that's a tough gig.
And it's become a play for an offense, is just we're just going to run a bomb because our hope is that we're going to get a flag.
Yeah.
They know they're probably not going to complete this pass, but if we can get it close in a jumble of bodies, our chances of getting that flag are pretty good.
Yeah, it's a shame. All right, well, obviously we spent 10 minutes talking about officials. That tells you
right.
how lack of interest there is in this Bills-Dolphins game. So we'll sign off. Look, again, like we said, I can't see any way that unless the Bills play just absolutely horrible, turn the ball over, I just don't see Miami being in this game, Leo. I think the Bills are going to win this pretty easily. And like I said, move on to the next week. Take care of your business. That's what McDermott's been preaching all week over there. And that's kind of what I think is going to happen. Any further thoughts?
31-7.
31-7. I picked on the radio, I picked 24-3. I'm not sure that they can get a touchdown against the Bills defense. So we'll see. If you're out there Sunday, hopefully there's good weather. And please enjoy yourself and don't break any tables because that's just really stupid. So that's my PSA
there you
for
go.
the day. Okay?
Good for you.
Have a great week, and we'll see you Sunday. He's Leo. You are Leo, right?
I am, yes.
We'll get
And
this right. You're Leo,
you're
and I'm
Sal.
Sal. Okay, very good. Have a great week.